IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative.
Actually, this music seems to be better for the evening. I find it more bearable, and this is a relative term, slightly more bearable in the evening than it is in the morning. In the morning, it's horrible. It's really dangerous. It's probably part of some torture treatment. But in the evening, if it'd been in a bit of a slow move or whatever, and you're slightly holding back, it sort of slightly spikes you up a little bit. Okay, so I'm not going to cancel the music yet. The jury is out. We'll think about the music. In the meantime, I've come up with a great idea, because here on the show we want to change culturisms and conventions and traditions and customs. That's our aim of the show. At least that's our aim from today onwards. We didn't have it before. I had a meeting yesterday in the office and came up with this idea. So one of the things we want to change is greetings. I find greetings very mundane and boring. When people come and say, "Good evening, how are you doing? What's up? Who are you?" Whatever. We have to stop that. Why can't we just go with the tone but use insults? I think it'll be much more fun. Like, for example, and I'm going to have to bring them in here, our two wise men. Silverie and Amit, can you come in for a second? So now we have to, and just hear me out and humor me for a second. Great, the Stevie Wonder impression works for me. But I'm just going to try to do this, and just tell me if you don't feel bad or whether it affects you in any way. Silverie, up yours, Silverie. Instead of like, "Hello, Silverie, how are you?" Did you feel bad when I said, "Up yours, Silverie"? Because my intent was very nice and friendly and loving.
So Stevie Wonder is blind, not deaf.
Yeah, blind, not deaf. Yeah. Okay, well done, Amit. Well done. Super.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I went on.
We got him. We nailed the guy. I nailed him on that.
New specs, and I was like, I want to show these off a little bit. These are pretty cool.
In comedy, this is called the killer. When I set up a joke for something else, and then an even better joke comes out from left field and topples the old joke. Well done, brother. Well done. Well done. Yes. So that's it.
What is the workplace, and how does your gender and body affect your right at work? Hey, I'm Priya Mirza, and on the Longest Constitution podcast, we critically examine the vision of the Indian Constitution and laws. In season 1, we looked at sex, gender, sexuality in India, and the landmark judgments which transformed our rights as citizens in this country. In season 2, we discussed the laws which shape the workplace and examine how ability, competence, and merit impact us, and much more. Join me, Priya Mirza, every Wednesday only on the IVM podcast app, website, and all the major podcast streaming platforms.
But just seriously, before we go into today's a very important episode in terms of we're trying something completely new and totally different. Let's see if it works. Most probably it won't, but we'll still try it. Before we go into that, what's wrong with just actually abusing someone sweetly? Because your intent is always sweet and nice. It's just more fun than people saying the thing "what's up" and meaninglessly walking by. If I say "up yours," but with a smile, I just feel there's much more. There's a better connection.
Using abuses as a term of endearment is not unusual, right? Like in Gujarati, most people, like many people, not most, many people call their friends, right? "Hey, sala tu to," right? I mean, like that sala is like, this, right? In English, "Hey, fucka," like you say that to your friends, right? I mean,
we said we avoid the profanity because 25% of our listeners are people who've given up certain sins and vices, and
we have a clean version of the show.
We have a clean version. What happens?
We have a clean version of the show, which you can hear on Alexa if you're listening on an Alexa.
Really?
Yeah, I've completely forgotten. We made this 4 years ago. I'd completely
Why did you tell us?
At the time, we must have all spoken about it. I'd completely forgotten about it.
But I abuse more then, because we have this clean version. I'm holding back all the time, yeah. I don't even say Sala. Oops.
I was basically I was just going through all of our different RSS feeds at IVM today, right? And I saw 3 Cyrus Says RSS feeds. I'm like, we have 3 RSS feeds? And yes, we have 3.
Okay, just a quick note for those listening. RSS is not the Rashtriya Swayamak Sang or whatever the hell it is. It's not that. This is our RSS. I don't need trouble later.
RSS stands for really simple syndication. That's what it stands for.
Really simple, which is what they are modernizing into, from what I gather. Yes.
But we have the Alexa feed, which is clean. And if you remember, though this has not been active for a while, but once upon a time we had a Lanso feed, which was separate, just
Yeah.
the cricket shows.
Correct.
But
Let's do
we
that
haven't
again.
done
That
it.
was just a 5 minute show. Also, it was much more fun
It
for
was
people
fun.
listening.
Yeah,
It
it
ends
was
in
fun.
5 minutes. That could be the tagline. Listen to us.
So
We end in 300 seconds. Yeah.
I think what you all can do is next week when you start more of the Cyrus and Friends thing, and when it's not just me and Antariksh, but you
The
have
Cyrus
people
and
who
Friends sounds like it sounds like gay porn, bro. I'm not happy with that. I'm like, why? Who comes up with Cyrus and Friends? Hello, friends. Welcome.
I just thought it was again. I was thinking the Hello Friends thing was interesting. I thought Cyrus and Friends was interesting. I thought it was fun. Like the
Imagine
friends
we
would
didn't even
seem to
think of that
attach.
title. Yeah, but I just want to make an announcement if you guys don't mind, because we should advertise upcoming guests on our show so people come and listen.
Yes.
I realize we always do things as an afterthought. Let's do it before so that later on in life they actually go and listen to the shows. So we've got Prime Minister of Pakistan Imran Khan, we've got Tom Brady who just announced his retirement, and we may, cross your fingers, have Shashi Tharoor all in the next month or so. Amit, please don't react to anything I say.
No,
This is
I think
plans.
people should stay tuned.
I mean, it's
to just,
possible.
like,
It's possible.
listen every episode and find out
Yeah.
if what Cyrus is saying is actually true.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Hope springs
You
eternal.
guys are horrible. You could have just kept quiet. No, now it obviously sounds fake. It might be possible. It
But
might happen.
because earlier it was believable, right? Before we said that, it was totally believable, given the profile of guests that we've had so far, that Tom Brady was going to show up. That seems logical.
Tom Brady would be only for you, because
No
you and the
brainer.
two guys who write in when you talk to the NBA, the three of you all, it's a separate line. It should be a FaceTime show where the three of you all discuss Tom Brady. And that's it. And we insert 1 minute at the end of the year. Yeah. But who knows? You never know. Like you said, we keep it open. But today, I want this announcement I'm going to make is absolutely honest. I swear on my mom, this is true. We have the biggest podcaster, bar none, on our show today. The biggest.
Yes.
Okay, and
Yes, we
generally
do.
this guy charges, like $100 million for a contract, etc. So to get him on a day rate, I did simple maths. You're paying him, you'd have to pay him something like close to $1 million just to appear
Yeah.
once. So how do we do it? Amit Doshi is the American Connect. He's a passport holder. He's an OCI or whatever the hell it is. So he's basically a man
Yeah.
of many different countries. He's the in between, the go between us and by now you've guessed Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's on the show. Silverie, is this not true? Am I lying? Please.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have a comeback?
No, absolutely.
no.
Sorry, my internet hung for a second.
Oh,
Yeah, we have
shit.
Joe Rogan on the show
You had a
because he
beautiful
responded-
comeback. You had the best comeback of all, but it just didn't work.
Damn it, yeah, I missed it.
Yeah.
So Joe Rogan responded to the whole Spotify versus Neil Young scandal or controversy going on right now, and let's just have a listen. We thought we'd do a play-by-play kind of this, and
Yeah.
let's see what you guys think
Just-
about it.
Yeah, so this is
Have
in
you- have-
defense of himself.
Have you guys seen this? Have you guys seen this before?
You're asking us or everybody listening?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
this case, you have to
No,
wait
no,
for them
you.
to give us feedback.
Cyrus and Amit.
I've seen it in the morning. I think at some point. I was in the studio, so it was, you know how it is. These things
Yeah.
trend and everybody seems to have it. That's why I saw it. Otherwise, wouldn't have seen it. Amit has not seen it, but has heard of it, right?
I've not seen it. I've heard of it, and I've read a bunch of stuff talking about it. This is like the ultimate, this is catnip for people who want to write think pieces. So the second he kind of put this thing out there, it's like 600 different people wrote about like how Joe Rogan is
Yeah.
awesome for apologizing, and also how he's also an asshole for giving people platforms. It was amazing just how many different kind of reactions. he
That's
got.
democracy. All good for me. So you got both
Yeah.
sides of the coin. They vented from both ends of the thing. That's fine. Baldmen and their love for podcasting, still a better love story than Twilight. Shawik Bakshi. Is it possible to employ Shawik once we have a little more money? I think we should.
Sure,
Um,
we should.
Shall we start?
Why not? Absolutely. All right, let's go. So, this is him starting the video out.
I wanted to make this video, first of all, because I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do, maybe based on sound bites or based on headlines of articles that are disparaging. The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about 2 episodes, a little bit about some other ones, but specifically about 2. One with Dr. Peter McCullough and one with Dr. Robert Malone. Dr. Peter McCullough is a cardiologist, and he is the most published physician in his field in history. Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology and is at least partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines. Both these
Okay,
people
just
are
pause for a sec. So the setup here is, after all that, is he's basically getting to the point about this one episode where the two of them came on, which pissed everybody off.
No,
because
2
they gave the
episodes. Two
Okay, two
episodes. Both of them were on
where these two
separate
came on.
guests. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
One guy being eminent in the vaccine field, the virus field as well. On top of that, so
Yeah.
that's the setup. What you haven't noticed is that it was shot in Malabar Hill. You can see the clouds in the background and a few
Yeah.
fragments of trees,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
behind his head
And
make him look awesome.
he's avoiding the traffic also. He's not free. Traffic is all out of the frame.
Yeah, yeah. Or let's not get distracted. So the setup here, and also he doesn't appear. Amit, please correct me if you think I'm wrong. He doesn't appear to be patronizing in any way. He seems to be sincere in the way he's
But
presented so far.
he's always sincere. I mean, like the I don't think anybody questions his sincerity. They
Yeah,
question his no his basically
philosophy or
credible.
leanings. Yeah,
No, not even his philosophy or leanings, because I think everybody knows that he's mostly kind of he's not a right wing nut job, right? But he's credulous when people come on his show, right? He doesn't push back, and when you're creating content or when you're making a show, right, like, see, on if you're making a show where you're talking about serious issues and acting as if you are, like, you're serious about them, then you got to push back when somebody's coming and spouting bullshit, and he doesn't. And I think that's what the
or
of course,
or
yeah.
you could say he's trying to listen to what they have to say literally, and so he's more like on
Mhm.
their side, and the platform is for that speaker for the day, and then maybe you're sort of taking in the information.
That's fair.
I'm not talking about obviously crazy things like killing people
Yeah.
and all that, but I'm talking about discussions on science, for example, because these guys are opposing the conventional feel of the day, as we'll find out if we play forward. Anyway, let's play. Others will never end. Yeah.
Very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is. I had them on, and because of that, those episodes in particular, those episodes were labeled as being dangerous. They had dangerous misinformation in them. The problem I have with the term misinformation, especially today, is that many of the things that we thought of as misinformation just a short while are now accepted as fact. Like, for instance, 8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID, you would be removed from social media. They would ban you from certain platforms.
I think this is a good point about
Cancel culture. Yeah.
yeah.
It's spot on. That's what I'm saying. Let's not let Amit because Amit's hearing it for the first time. What do you think, Amit?
Well, so I would say this, right? The cancel culture point is fair, but so Trevor Noah spoke about his the other part of the comment, right?
Yeah.
About how the stuff is not true, that stuff which was not true earlier is true now, and he had a very good and very cogent point around that, right? Which is just that I mean, like, you can't keep saying it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and after 12 hours when it's finally 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you can say, "See, I was right," right? And I mean, like, that there is a degree of that in here.
Well,
Circumstances change,
can I just
times
argue the
change.
point? I like the idea always of trying to hear other sides of the coin. Always. Because we've been inundated from the beginning with everybody saying this is the only way to combat the virus. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. We're talking about the fact that he's okay with hearing. I mean, always talking about it's a free and fair platform where people have to talk and listen and, exchange views freely without fear. So in that sense, the way he's setting it up right now, that's what he's done. He's taken two eminent people in the field who are against the grain. That's all.
I see. I don't have my. This is this, right? Criticizing. So in the Indian context, we think that criticizing what Joe Rogan says means that we want him to stop saying it. Okay, I don't think that that's what I'm trying to say at all, right? I'm not trying to stop him from saying it, but at the same time, I also do think that there are issues in the way that he presents certain ideas and the way that he's a credulous foil for people who have bad agendas, right? And I think that's an issue. I don't think that that's something that should be just kind of like,
maybe, but we'll have to look at it from a specific case point of view and not generalize and say that all bad eggs come on and then he's just allowing them to roam scot-free.
So it's happened more than once. It's happened a lot.
Yes.
When he knows the topic though a little bit better, then he does push back sometimes. At least he asks like pertinent questions. Sometimes what would happen, I think, in something like COVID is, as regular people, you don't know what doctors say. So when he's talking to someone more learned than him in that field, I imagine he's like, okay, I'll take you at face value for now, and let's see if I talk to someone later in the future who changes my belief on what you said.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, Antariksh. When you're going and trying to book deliberately controversial people, right? That's what he's doing. He's going out for deliberately controversial people who have opinions which are outside the mainstream, right?
I slightly disagree.
What?
No,
You
I
think
think
that
I think I'm coming closer to his side after hearing the whole thing, which is basically what he was also trying to do is find other points of view, because the whole globe has decided there's only one way: sanitize your hands, wear a mask, and clean the knob of your door. Which after some time, I really think, honestly, was driving all of us mad. And he's just trying from that orthodoxy that happened across the world. It's no longer Maharashtra and India; it's across the world. They're trying to look at, maybe let's look, there might be some other alternatives. The world is, a creative place. So I think that would have been the very much part of the agenda as well. Of course, then you look at ratings and all
100%.
that. You want controversial show, all that comes
No,
into
but
play.
listen, it's 100% part of the agenda, right? That he is frustrated with the situation. We're all frustrated with the situation, right? None of us like
He's
sitting
lost
at.
his hair, Amit. He's lost his hair. You know what that feels like.
But the point is that the thing is that if you're going to have opinions on your show, right, which are pushing the boundaries of what is considered to be scientifically valid and not, especially in a context of today's kind of hyper kind of critical kinds of spaces, right? You need to know your shit. You can't just then be like, oh yeah, okay, that sounds interesting. Oh, okay, that sounds interesting. You got to be able to kind of say that, no, but what about this, or what about that, or yeah, I agree with what you're saying, how about this part of it? You have to be more active in the conversation. The reason why Joe Rogan works as a podcaster so well, right, is because he lets the other person speak. That's his strength, that's his
Point
charm, right?
noted. Point bloody noted. Unnecessary shot with the balls. Why did that come out of left field from nowhere? Oh, let's just figure to school the old man. Leave the old man alone. No, no, I know
No,
I know what you're
but
saying, but again, have you seen the interviews with these two gentlemen? Because you have to see them in their entirety to see whether he's not pushed back at all. At the
but
end, he may be leaning towards what their views were, but we don't know the balance of the interview in terms of to and fro.
So this is the problem with listening to Joe Rogan stuff. It's 2.5 hours long, and I don't have that
Yes.
kind of time in life. So I wind up with the 10-minute YouTube clips. Very honestly,
But
for me, Joe Rogan is a YouTube experience.
world, please tell the truth. Everybody does that. How many people listen to 2.5 hours on the Battle of Science?
The expectation is not to have you listen to 2.5 hours in one go anyway, right? Like, on your one drive, you listen to like half the podcast one way.
How
No,
is he getting 11 million downloads? It's not coming off YouTube. It's coming off, like, millions of those are coming off the audio platform.
there's a cultural issue here. Lots of the viewers, or rather, what do you want to call them, podcasters, podcast imbibers, have long drives in the West. Okay, like long drives. Like my brother-in-law has about an hour going and coming. So they're happy with one whole subject.
Yeah.
No,
You put it on, and then your mind is off that, you're just listening and driving. So that works
what I'm
in the West, because I would think for a little while. Yeah, sorry, go on.
what I'm saying is that I listen to like half an hour, say like on one road, like one road trip, and then half an hour later, one more hour later,
It's a matter of few seconds. Mom's room, your room, kitchen hall.
I have 50 minutes each way, so I listen to 50 minutes each way.
There you go.
So I mean, it depends on the
Yeah,
length
that's
of
what.
your commute, right?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to, I could probably
Ladies, it's
finish
all
Joe
about the
Rogan
Yeah,
every
length.
that's
day,
what
but
I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
fair enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. So it depends on the guest to guest. Like sometimes I'll want to listen to the whole episode. Like if Dave Chappelle is coming on the show, I'll listen to the whole episode, even if it's like 4 hours long. But like someone who I don't know
What
and
happens
not
to
that
work,
interested in,
Silverie, on that day that you have 4 hours for bloody Chappelle?
I
What happens to the
know,
rest
right?
of us?
Damn,
Huh?
Chappelle.
Okay, before you press play again, just one quick question on his demeanor. But like we said, sincere and all that, he's quite, what is the right word, winsome in his
Mhm.
argument for me. Without going into the argument, from an emotional point of view, from just the audio and the way his tonality and his body language is, for me, yeah, if he's a politician, he's great. That's what I'd say.
he's the most popular broadcaster in the world. Of course,
For
he
some
knows how to
reason.
talk in
Yeah,
public.
correct. Yeah,
Of course, he knows how to present a case, dude.
that's
Well, let's not say it's a Machiavellian thing. Let's say it's just an inbuilt thing where
No,
he just
it's a
presents himself as
skill,
a,
right?
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
skill. You
yeah.
go to Cyrus, you go to a function, you know what to do with your eyes closed, no? If you're hosting something with your eyes closed, you know how to do this,
I normally do it
right?
with my eyes closed because I can't bear to watch.
There you go. Similarly, when Joe Rogan is talking to people like this, he can do it with his eyes closed. You ask a
No, but
stand-up com.
no, that's Joe Rogan, the whatever, the everyday
Oh.
guy. Here, he's on the back foot. Okay, he knows he's been pummeled by a lot of people, and he has been. And I don't know if it's affected the ratings, whether it's gone for him or against him. But in the fullness of time, it's going to go against him. It's chipping away at the Joe Rogan phenomena.
is chipping at his credibility more than
It
anything
is.
else. I think the
It
problem
is.
is that, right? It's
It
hitting his
is.
credibility. I like a year and a half ago, I would watch Joe Rogan and I would always be like, hey, I might not agree with him, but he's a smart guy and a smart guy interviewing people who I
No.
might or might not want to listen to. And I always would watch those videos and
Also,
I'd be really interested.
things that piss you off about him, say, if people like you and me, is that he's pro gun, for example. The pro gun becomes a big issue for about a month in the US or the world
I
when
don't
there's a
care.
shooting. And then it sort of disappears. No, I'm saying it's seasonal almost. I hate to say that. But pandemic for 2 years is not so seasonal. People have lost people, so people
Yeah.
are superly sensitive and beyond, as in you're causing offense in a way. It's almost like a religion now. You have to be a little careful.
It's so here's the thing, right? The frustrating thing about the pandemic in many ways to me, right, is the reason it's still ongoing is because we are not because as a group and as a group, by the group I mean the entire world population, are not following guidelines that have been set out. We don't have good communication from governments. There are a bunch of different problems, right? And so it
Be that
pisses me off when somebody is pushing information which is clearly not cool.
But Amit, let's go to specifics again. What we've just seen so far in a 2 minute or a 9 minute clip, they've mentioned very clearly about how the vaccines, and he was right, about a year back, if you took the vaccine, you were told you were invincible and then you cannot get it and you cannot pass it.
I'm sorry, anybody who told you a year back that you get the vaccine and you're invincible was lying to you or didn't know
Okay,
what they were
I'm using
talking
the
about.
wrong words, but they say the chances of getting it are very low. That's as good as it gets. Come on, no
No,
scientific
that is no,
data tells you
Cyrus.
100%. It's always 90%.
It was never 100%. It was always 97% efficacy. It was always about something that's going to. It was never about a single solution. Even with
So
the
you're calling him
vaccines,
out on this? You're calling him
yeah,
out on what
hundred
he's saying about
percent,
8 months back, that it's a lie.
100. It's absolutely. There was
Silvery,
never a.
do your
Yeah.
research. People out there, do your research and save us. Who's telling the truth? Were there claims that if you did the vaccine in 2020 end, let's say 2020 end, 2021 beginning, were there claims by global powers across the world, WHO, everything else, that if you did the vaccine, you'd be more or less okay, like a very strong okay, and your chances of spreading it even like remote. Okay, let's use the right words, not invincible.
Huh.
Invincible is an arrogant word. Okay,
No, but
okay, let's.
Yeah.
yeah.
Continue.
Let's listen more. Is that what I'm
Now
doing?
that's accepted as fact. If you said, I don't think cloth masks work, you would be banned from social media. Now that's openly and repeatedly stated on CNN. If you said, I think it's possible that COVID-19 came from a lab, you'd be banned from many social media platforms. Now that's on the cover of Newsweek. All of those theories that at one point in time were banned were openly discussed by those two men that I had on my podcast that have been accused of dangerous misinformation. I do not know if they're right. I don't know because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a person who sits down and talks to people and has conversations with them. Do I get things wrong? Absolutely. I get wrong, but I try to correct them. Whenever I get something wrong, I try to correct it because I'm interested in telling the truth. I'm interested in finding out what the truth is. And I'm interested in having interesting conversations with people that have differing opinions. I'm not interested in only talking to people that have one perspective. That's one of the reasons why I had Sanjay Gupta on, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who I respect very much. And I really enjoyed our
Really?
conversation together. He has a different opinion than those men do. I had Dr. Michael Osterholm on at the very beginning of the pandemic. He is on President Biden's COVID-19 advisory board.
Pause for a sec.
I had Dr.
Two things. Firstly, his teeth are as bad as mine, which for a man who's worth 200 million US. I don't understand. And secondly, so Amit, how do you feel about? Okay, this is sounding very political, but he's saying I've given you both sides of the coin. I've had everybody on. I've not really pushed agenda. At least from his perspective.
Again,
what do you
my this would be the my main point here would be simply this, right? I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should not speak. I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should not be able to talk to whoever the fuck he wants to. I'm just saying that it is problematic in my mind, and I think that he has left himself open to criticism, where he is basically being credulous towards people who are fringe figures in some cases. That's all I'm saying here. I'm not saying that he needs to be banned. I'm not saying that he is full of shit. He's clearly again, he's a great communicator, but again, it looks like he's clearly genuine about what he's saying right now. He does believe this, right? So I don't see that.
It's like there's so many examples, like how the people thought the world is square or not round and whatever, wanted to crucify anybody who thought otherwise, and I think they were actually put in prison, etc. So I'm just saying, is it possible that with perspective, 5, 7, 10 years down the line, we realize that a lot of the things we did were stupid or were pointless or what I think are the 1%ers and 2%ers, like washing your hands. It's not
But you
necessarily
don't
as important as people thought.
you don't know that today, no?
We don't know that.
So basically, do you not have to proceed on what your best available information is today, or are you just going to assume that 5 years later I'll be right? So fuck it, let me do that.
Silverie, please come in here. You're not saying anything. Please tell us what you think about this. He's attacking me now. He's much bigger than me. 20 kilos I lose on this one. No. Yeah.
So
Do you think
one
he's
thing I
been
want to say.
balanced, Silverie?
Sorry, your voice got cut. Could you repeat that? What did you say?
Joe is claiming he's been balanced. That's the
Yeah.
long and short of so
Correct.
far what he's saying. Okay, I've given these guys a place to talk. I've also given those guys, Joe Biden's right hand man, as left leaning as you can, as whatever. So you think he's been balanced, or?
So I think he's definitely, he likes to talk to people with contrary opinions, right? So I think sometimes what happens is he has more of these people on, but he goes on to say in this video, addresses that part also. Okay, if you think that that maybe I can agree, I can admit that maybe sometimes I will have these people with non-mainstream opinions. So it would be good that right after their episode, I do an episode with someone with more mainstream, or at least like the more popular opinions, and explain to me why those are correct as opposed to these.
The reason why he's going for what Amit calls the fringe bunch and perhaps the unconventional thought process in science is also to do with his ego. If we look back at the fact that CNN went after him and others went after him right in the beginning with that horse thing, I think that really affronted him. It became a big issue. And then when he mentioned Sanjay Gupta, who I'll never forget, that was the very first episode I saw where I didn't like him, because I thought he was just being a physical bully, intimidating. And I hate that. I don't see the point of that, when you call anybody on. Having said that, he's now appearing very balanced, at least in this so-called. It's almost like an apology, actually. So far,
it is kind of an apology.
Clearing his name, but he's also being slightly apologetic. The body language.
This is the thing. I don't think he should apologize. He has the right to do what he is doing. But again, the speech has consequences, right? And the consequences that my respect for Joe Rogan, right, or people like me, our respect for Joe Rogan, which was there a year and a half ago, where I was like, hey, this is really cool. We should be looking at this, right? We should be listening to the people who he's talking to, all of that. That's gone down at this point because he's been a little, fringy.
All the strong points have been corrupted in a sense. The ones that we liked about him, the fact that he was very frank, straightforward, that he spoke to the guests in a very normal way, whether you're Michael Jackson or Michael Smith, whoever the hell you are, it was the same style. So all that now become almost redundant because we're worried about spreading the wrong message, spreading false sort of, I won't call them lies because we don't know, but maybe giving false hope sometimes. So I can understand that, but I still.
One more thing I would like to say is that he makes a point. He says that I at least try to correct myself when I find out that I'm wrong. I do at least maybe on a future podcast, maybe I'll tweet it out or make an Instagram post, and he has done that. I was like, when is the last time you heard CNN do that? CNN from India, they're wrong about so many things.
All the time, dude. Look at the website.
Not once will they ever will like someone like Anderson Cooper ever tweet out, okay, I got this wrong. This is the correct thing.
They correct themselves all the time. Look at the articles, CNN, New York Times, any mainstream media with any kind of credibility, correct themselves
in India,
all the time.
The corrigendum was always on page 16, paragraph 9, right at the bottom. From the front page, it goes to the 16th page.
Online is a different world, right? So on online, you see the stuff at the bottom of articles all the time. Like I like literally, I see it at like 10, 15% of the articles that by mistake we call this person, or we got the title wrong, or this was not an accurate quote reflecting of what that person has said. That person corrected this. I see this all the time.
See, I'm looking at this. Just a select piece of what do you want to call this? Piece to camera that we're looking at separately as two parts. One is his body language, his delivery style, the fact that he exposes bad teeth to us in an unflattering angle and all that. I like all that about the body language part, that is. The second part is the content. So is he A, sincere? I think he is sort of sincere. And B, do you buy it? Whether he's sincere or not, do you buy it? Do you buy what he's saying? Okay, whether he's sincere or not.
I buy he's sincere.
Yeah. That I've tried to balance. I've given people a chance. I've always let everybody speak. This is a place where people come to and air their views.
You have now done what, 800 odd episodes at this point in time. I'm sure
I'm his father. I'm Joe Rogan Kabab. It says so on my visiting card. Guys, come and take one. Yeah.
No, but my question to you would be that I'm sure that in these so many episodes that we've done, there have been people who have said stuff that you didn't agree with. I'm sure that's happened.
See, we don't have that many controversial. We actually have amongst ourselves. You and I have a little banter here and there and things like that. Or how many guests have we had where we've really taken them on? Maybe a political guest it has to come from politics, honestly.
They're not even taking them on. Not even really taking them on, right? In the sense that just like they have a point of view which you don't agree with.
I can't remember too many, but obviously you must have had some in
Yeah.
so many. The thing is, I don't listen. I'm a terrible host.
Yeah, clearly you don't listen. You never heard the music. Now you're bitching about the music after Naveen Narona put it together.
I heard the music all my life, but it's now he plays it for me in my ear. Rishi does it. See, I tease Rishi a lot, and he gets his own back. He plays it only for me. Not even the people watching have to hear it. Just me. Guys, I just told them intro music episodes in my life. He never listened to any of the episodes. Yeah, Joe Rogan Zindabad. Shall we listen to the whole thing? Otherwise, the whole episode will end with us just cutting into him.
Let's finish.
It's about 4-5 minutes to go. Yeah. Let's go.
Dr. Peter Hotez on, who is a vaccine expert. I'm interested in finding out what is correct and I'm also finding out how people come to these conclusions and what the facts are. Now, because of this controversy, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things going on behind the scenes with these controversies, but Neil Young has removed his music from the platform of Spotify, and Joni Mitchell, and apparently some other people want to as well. I'm very sorry that they feel that way. I most certainly don't want that. I'm a Neil Young fan. I've always been a Neil Young fan. I'll tell you a story at the end of this about that. One of the things that Spotify wants to do that I agree with is that at the beginning of these controversial podcasts, like specifically ones about COVID, is to put a disclaimer and say that you should speak with your physician and that these people and the opinions that they express are contrary to the opinions of the consensus of experts, which I think is very important. Sure, have that on there. I'm very happy with that. Also, I think if there's anything that I've done that I could do better is have more experts with differing opinions right after I have the controversial ones. I would most certainly be open to doing that. And I would like to talk to some people that have differing opinions on those podcasts.
Sort of apologizing in a way.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no, absolutely.
It's not being. Sorry, go on.
No, 100%. I mean, like he's being humble. He's being apologetic. I think it's a
and he's like being
statement.
democratic about it. He's like, I'm listening to what you guys are saying. I don't want Neil Young to get off the platform, etc. He could have gone the other way. Why is he behaving like this? Whatever. So he's not that. Anyways, go on. Sorry.
Podcasts in the future. We'll see. I do all the scheduling myself, and I don't always get it right. These podcasts are very strange because they're just conversations. And oftentimes I have no idea what I'm going to talk about until I sit down and talk to people. And that's why some of my ideas are not that prepared or fleshed out, because I'm literally having them in real time. But I do my best, and they're just conversations. And I think that's also the appeal of the show. It's one of the things that makes it interesting. So I want to thank Spotify for being so supportive during this time. And I'm very sorry that this is happening to them.
By the way, are you seeing a fly on his forehead? Is there one on his forehead, or is it on my screen and only for me?
I think you're seeing a tree. The back of the tree looks like a fly.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
It's distracting me. Sorry. Back to Miss India semifinals and swimsuit round, Joe Rogan. Yeah.
And that they're taking so much heat from it. And so now the Neil Young story. When I first of all,
so then
I'm
he's
not
gracious towards Neil Young.
I'm a huge Neil Young fan. I've always been a Neil Young fan. When I was 19, I was a security guard at a.
I'm just reading body language. I love doing that. Yeah. It's when you have no work. It's what you do all your life. Just sit and read body language. Nobody wants to talk to you anyway, so that's all you got.
Oh, the fly might be Antariksh's mouse, huh?
That might it's your mouse, you moron. That green thing is. It went in his nose in the middle, yeah. And the guy's almost apologizing, but to Neil Young, it's a really sincere moment in broadcast, and you shove the friggin' mouse. You don't like Neil Young, you take that. Oh God, the green fly in his nose. A bald man with bad teeth who has more money than all of us. Yeah. Okay.
A place called Great Woods in Mansfield, Massachusetts. It's an outdoor concert amphitheater, and Neil Young was playing there, and that was the last day I worked there. I quit during the Neil Young concert. The job is kind of crazy because there was a lot of times fights broke out and stuff, and I think I probably got like $15 an hour, and I was not about to get beat up for $15 an hour. So I would bring a hoodie with me whenever I worked. So in case the shit hit the fan and it got too crazy, I would just put my hoodie on and leave and cover my security outfit, my security shirt. So one day during a Neil Young concert,
so you let down Neil Young twice.
The amplitude of the way it's set.
Sorry, what did you say, Cyrus?
He's let him down
Oh,
twice. Once he walked out of his
yeah.
security guard gig and didn't protect him, and now this anti-science. Sorry.
I think the rest of the story we can let people go to the Joe
Yeah,
Rogans.
basically he's just basically saying, okay, oh yeah, I'm still a Neil Young fan. I'm also a Joni Mitchell fan, and no all love and no.
Yeah, and the chat is
No
filled
hard
with
feelings.
people saying 2 bald men for the price of 1 is too much. They can't do that. 2 bald, 1 balding, 1 forehead receding. Yeah. Okay,
Cool.
shall we take a break and then come back with comments?
Let's take a break. I got 2 topics for you. I don't know what Antariksh's topics are, but I got 2.
Okay, great. So we're taking a break, which is a beautiful formal break, I'm told these days, where announcements happen. Let's see. Here it is, the break.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On The Habit Coach, Ashton talks to endocrinologist Dr. Altamas Sheikh. They discuss the various triggers for thyroid diseases and ways to keep our bodies safe from hypothyroidism. On Misconduct, we meet Unni Yarcha, legendary warrior of Malayalam literature. Raghavi and Nisha tell us how she took revenge against the man who killed her brother. On Press Decode, Sarah Bagda and Prafulla talk about illegal immigrations with reference to the Indian family that died while crossing the US-Canada border. On Ikka Economy, Abhinav and Dr. Junjunwala discuss the MSP farm law and its repercussions. And on Say No to Drama, Chetna tells us how we can make peace with the bad habits we just can't seem to quit. Also, just one quick announcement for everybody. We would like you to check out the new version of our Android app. It's available on the Play Store. It's a really interesting take on how to listen to podcasts. Do give it a look and let us know what you think. We're open to feedback on all of our social media channels. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Also, do remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Word of mouth really does help. And don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms you're listening to us on. And you can also check us out on YouTube. And we have a number of channels there at ivmpodcast.com/YouTube where you can take a look at them. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Bank of Baroda and CoinSwitch Kuber. Thank you so much for making this possible.
I just want an observation on the ad, because that picture at the end where I thought it was Arnab Goswami, the black and white one, which has Amit and 7, 8 friends, like the Last Supper, all of you are sitting around. Very nice picture. But who's the guy I think is Arnab? Because I can't see. I mean, that's the best I can do is what I can see, and he looks like Arnab. Can you just clarify that for me once and for all? In that last photo, you guys you don't watch the ad? You don't watch the ad?
No, I watch the ad all the time, but in the last photo?
The very last photo before we go into the final voiceover script bit and then no visual left, there's a photo of all of you all, a collective in black and white photo, all classy looking, 7, 8 faces together, podcasters and what have you. And there's this guy who looks like Arnab, who isn't Arnab. He's one of our podcasters.
Can you play that piece again for me, Rishi? Let me take a look.
It's one picture. You're on the left of the frame.
I have no idea what we're talking about. I honestly, I don't know. I'm on the left. Dude, I don't photograph with anybody but you, man. The only time I'm...
You're there.
But what?
You're all there. I'm not making it up. I see this ad. It's the best part of the show for me. I watch every second of the ad.
Sure. So one second, Rishi's just pulling it up. Let's re-look at the...
Yes, this controversy has to be squashed. It's basically... he's going to play... Are you going to play the whole ad?
Okay. Okay. All right. So who do you want to know who is who?
The guy with the hands folded, third from the right.
Anupam Gupta.
That's Anupam.
It's Anupam Gupta, but I can't see from here. All I can see is the guy looks like Arnab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what.
So that's let's see. We got myself. We got, I think, Kedar. I think Chetna. I can't see who's got the play face on his.
Ashton.
The play killed him.
Ashton. Okay. Anupam, Varun. And Probation Se Promotion Tak, the host of that, Abhinav Trivedi.
Wow, excellent.
Yes.
Great. So now we are probably the only show that plays an ad about ourselves and then goes into that. That's our podcast.
We need to listen.
How narcissistic are we?
Hey, no, the way I choose to look at this, right, is you're trying to give the app more footage. Basically, you want people to know more about the app, right? And so that's
I couldn't get this guy out of my head. I need to know. I know Anupam. I need to know who it was. You had podcasts with him, and thank you, Chintu. I remember him very well. We've done 3 podcasts. Don't show off like I've got Alzheimer's. Damn you. All these bloody critics, I tell you, there will be no apology from this Rogan. That Rogan can apologize as much as he wants. Final comments, guys. Silverie, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So,
with regard to the video.
Quick thing about the Joe Rogan thing only. Is so Just yesterday, I was watching this video. So Kunal Kamra was just on the Deshbhakt channel, that's Akash Banerjee's channel, and Akash Banerjee was interviewing him. And one of the questions he asked him was about censorship and also like how people get very angry and try to say, "Ke, "Arey, ispe mat wo jo kya karo, uspe kya karo, uspe kya karo." And Kunal Kamra's response was, "Ke, dude, I don't listen to any feedback that comes to me about free content. I am putting out free content. मैं अपना पैसा लगा रहा हूँ to make this thing, and I'm putting it out for free. नहीं देखना है." Well, basically, he's essentially saying कि नहीं देखना है तो मत देखो. It's up to you, but it's free, dude. Nobody's making you to watch it. So I think to that extent, even Joe Rogan, in that regard, is kind of in the same boat, right? It's like free, hai. Who's making you watch it?
Yeah, but
That's a good point.
that is, again, nobody is stopping him from making his podcast. Nobody is telling him not to talk. At least I am.
They
not.
don't want to be associated with the platform. That's all, because they didn't
Yeah,
like the podcast. In democracy, all this is good. Actually, it's all
Yeah.
fair style of protesting, fair style of putting out your views. It's all fair, I guess.
The old saw, right? You have freedom of speech, but that does not mean that you have freedom from consequences. Joe Rogan's allowed to say whatever the hell he wants to, but that doesn't mean that I have to continue to enjoy his content to the degree that I did 2 years ago. Right? I mean, there are consequences to doing this kind of shit.
I bet you want to teach him a lesson and show that you're angry with him. You grow your hair. You grow your hair. You teach him. You teach this guy. There's the only way to teach these guys. Silverie has a future in politics. Kept all options open. Yeah. But I don't know. I think for the world to be diplomacy, Silverie's cup of coffee. Go, Silverie, we vote for you. Silverie, at the end, you're the man of the match. It wasn't Anupam who looks like Arnab. It's you. You've stolen the show by not being giving a commitment one way or the other, sitting on the fence, as they say.
But that's what I do.
Nice. The Pawai ka Rajnikant. Not bad. Bad. Anyway, so what's the reaction? You were saying that he got trolled as well as applauded. So what do you think is the consensus, if there is one, which is more?
So most people are saying it was a classy response. At least he was gracious towards Neil Young also and the other artists also. He said I'm still fans. I still love these guys. I love their music. I've listened to them since I was a young boy. And so that
Since I was young, I heard Young.
I think I would say it makes Joe Rogan look great. I would say. That's
great. I wouldn't go great.
Yeah.
I would say I think
it makes him look very good.
Damage control, yes, but great would be like.
So the thing is with me, I was always like on his side only. I did not think that. So the thing is, I don't listen to his podcast and then form my opinions on COVID and all from him. No, I listen to the podcast like the ones I want to listen to. I listen to the Kevin Hart episodes.
Wise words today. Yeah, that's well put.
That's a very good point, right? I mean, he is not an educator, and we shouldn't expect him to be one. I agree with that. I buy that.
Also, this is the problem with this podcast as well. I'm very worried about that. You have to be careful where you go from entertainment to information. There's a line where it's both and it's fun and it's great. One becomes, it sort of corrupts the other if it becomes too dominant. And what's happening in the Rogans that you don't like is the information has become so dominant that the fun element goes out. And because of that also, they start taking themselves more seriously. And then the consequences of that is people get affected and irritated. So Joe, learn from us. We are inexperienced, but we know better. In between, make a joke about short people. It always works. I can't say dwarfs, no? Or there's an app that...
No, I think you're allowed to say the word dwarf is allowed.
It's little people, bro. It's little people. I know my PC. I know. Okay, you can't use these words anymore. You can't. Yeah.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings is very controversial. Yeah. Yeah. Dwarves and elves and all not cool.
But it was banned in so many countries where people are short. I mean, they allow them to see it.
No, or rather, they couldn't see it
because the screen being high up. Okay, stop it. Unnecessary. I apologize. Don't send any letters to us, please. Kunal Kamra, get him. Followed by Munawar Faruqi. We have sent you 3 for comedians. Attack them. They take it for the team. For all of us. Amit had 2 stories.
Yeah.
Well, no. So actually, I googled one of them, and now I'm not sure if it's a public story. If I just heard behind the scenes stuff, so probably can't talk about that. The other story was Rahul Gandhi's speech. What did you think?
Now it's extra interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I forget Rahul Gandhi's speech. What was this thing that you want to hide now?
Well, no. So if it's public information, I'll bring it up on Monday. If it's not, then I got to be kind of little.
So we are now. Listen to what
teasing a new story. I'm teasing Monday.
Great tease.
Yeah, we're teasing a maybe. This story may or may not happen. So please come.
I did a search. So I heard that a controversy that occurred recently was just a PR stunt, and then I did a search and I'm not finding anything about that. So maybe I just heard the from the back end. So I don't want to.
But you know what really happens? It becomes like an organic situation where sometimes things go a little awry and then they become PR. It's used, capitalized. That's what really happens. And people think it's the other way, putting the cart before the horse or the horse before the cart. It's already happened, and then they use it to their advantage, the situation, which you can see.
Could be.
That's more likely in this is experience talking. Silverie, you
Yes,
want to do a sort? Let's go to AMAs. I'm sure people will
let's go to AMAs. There are quite a few. Yeah.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
Gaurav Pilania has asked, good evening, Cyrus, Amit and Silverie. This is a question for all of you. Is there any sport that you guys play regularly? If you don't, which game would you want to pick up? Were you guys big in sports when you were younger? Like, did you play a lot? Students.
Amit, did you play a lot?
I played a reasonable amount of cricket, not like crazy amounts. Like I played inter-school, but not like Galcheed and shit like that.
Oh, cool.
But
So
not like
what he's saying is he got
amount.
out a lot. He wanted to play more, but he got out to come back.
I was an opening batsman who got out in the first over probably 8 or 9 times, like in the 20-30 times I played.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, I was not good.
I was in my
fair
school
enough.
team for table tennis and basketball. But basketball, I was in
Nobody talks about table.
I was in
table
substitutes,
tennis
not
as
a
an
starting five,
adult.
and I almost never got to play basketball.
As an
fair
adult, I think the only sport I've ever played is pool or snooker. Or whatever
Pool?
you wanna
No,
call it.
listen, let me tell you, I played everything as a kid, but let's not even get into that. But as an adult, if you start to play what is organized sport, like an organized football match on a ground or cricket match or rugby or whatever, barring table tennis, which I don't know if it'll happen there. The problem is, and it's happened to me every time, because you don't play for years and then you play an organized game with friends or whatever, you get injured every time.
Yeah.
Every football match that I've played, the so-called celebrity cricket matches, you're full of beans and all that, but your body is really different from when you were 15. And every time, hamstring, knee, finger. I got playing rugby. I hurt my finger. I didn't even catch the ball. I just hurt it. I don't just twist it on somebody. Ow.
You don't even need to get that physical in the sport, right? So I used to play a lot of pool when I was in my 20s and like early 30s. I played a year and a half ago, right before the pandemic, like 6 months or so before the pandemic. I threw my back out playing pool.
But it's horrible on the back.
Yeah. It's harder.
Yeah, because you're bent like that all the time for hours.
Yeah, and now back then, I mean, like, there were no back issues or anything like that. Now, I mean, like, every so often I'll get a backache, and this triggered.
I used to get the same backache asking girls out. It's the same position basically, and with the same consequences. But so I'm just saying the lesson we learned here first is that nobody cares about the Joe Rogan controversy, because our first question was about sports.
No, there are questions.
Why.
There are more. Yeah.
And the second is that if you're aging, please be very careful, because your mind never ages. You still think you can play. That's a huge problem. Silverie, do you play anything? You're still in your 20s. Do you play now?
I don't
anymore.
I do feel like playing basketball and table tennis quite a lot nowadays, but yeah.
Do you have a TT facility downstairs?
Actually, in the no. So we had a table tennis table in the building, but children in the building used to use it as a table for birthday cakes and all, so they broke it. That's what happened.
But hey, when you're not playing TT, why can't you use it as a birthday cake? Just cover it and then use it. What's the biggie?
But it messes up the table and all. No, like it starts chipping away and you drop some things and this goes bad.
So you're producing national champions from Raheja Chambers in Hawaii.
I mean, yeah, that's true. You're right. But still have a functioning good table, like a fun table to work with.
So the arm of the law, I tell you, stupid things like they had a cake party on the table tennis. Now we won't have the table. Unbelievable. Hey, Cyrus, you said in the beginning, very important. You are trying something different, something new. What was that?
8 minutes of Joe Rogan we played. That wasn't different enough for you, or what?
What? This guy.
We tried to give you a professional podcaster, up the ante, but we failed. We accept defeat. There's no point arguing with the people have spoken. As a good politician always says, after losing, the people have spoken. The people have spoken. That's all there is to it. So as Joe, chalo, what are the Joe Rogan issues that we're getting, or reactions rather?
There are quite a few. But first, we want to ask Akshay K has asked, Cyrus, what was your experience going to IVM's new studio? What is the difference from the old studio to the new studio?
Oh, there are many things that I noticed. One is that I had 5 guys in a small room and it was in prison. And they were giggling a lot all the time, exactly like Silverie is now.
It was very
Why are you giggling all the time? Are they making fun of me behind my back?
No, not at all.
It was just Mangalam. It's just constant giggling going on, Huh?
They think you're hilarious.
Yeah, man. You're like our god.
I don't think they're laughing with me, Amit, at any point.
No, dude, firstly, you said your answers were great. we had like a Q&A thing that we were recording with Cyrus, and
Questions.
your answers are so funny.
Akshay,
And then
yeah,
the way Vishal was asking the questions was also like really funny to us because we know
but
Vishal.
Vishal was asking questions, which is
Yeah.
for which you have only
No,
like a
but
memory
Vishal-
mark. You could
so,
take tuition.
okay.
What was your first
Vishal-
episode? What is your favorite episode? We've had 900
Yeah.
episodes. It's not easy. That's so unfair. Anything else? If you ask me, just explain the GDP of China between 2001 and 2016, I think I had a better chance. But how do I? Where?
Yeah.
Can you
Vishal
tell us your
starts-
first experience at the podcasting
Yeah.
studio and all that? I was like, what? I felt like a virgin. I had no idea what he was saying.
He started also going like Vishal, like he's very hard worker, but he starts the Q&A going, okay, camera rolling,
Can I criticize?
sound rolling,
Yeah.
action.
Yeah, Amit, he thought he was shooting Amitabh Bachchan in a huge, a Prakash Mehra epic with 5, superstars to Ajuba or something being created.
Listen, he's a film student, and so he gets the opportunity. He wants to do what he can.
But he does a Rajdeep Sardesai, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that. He asks his question. So, what was your first episode that you remember? I say something about living in Poland, and which is disconnected. He doesn't listen to a word I say because he's already ready with his next question. So there's no flow ever. The Rajdeeps and a few others I've noticed doing that. They have their question. They want to go to their question. It's like, I will go to my question, but I'm discussing Poland. First go to Poland, then come to your question. No. Straight away. Okay. And so tell me, like I would say I'm a mass murderer. I've killed 40 children under the age of 10. Yeah, okay. Tell me, which is your favorite episode? That's the way it was. So for me, it was an eye-opener. It was great fun. By the way, having said that, I should have congratulated everybody because it's been almost 6 years. And this is a pretty... Guys who are listening, I don't know why I'm shouting louder. It's as if you're just 5 feet behind them, and so hence I have to shout louder. That is stupid. But if you are listening, this is a real professional setup. And one day when this pandemic hopefully no longer exists, if it ever happens, maybe we can have like a visiting thing for those who really like these podcasts. There may be 2 or 3, and you can come and see it. So it's a really nice, from Mumbai standards, pretty large office. So yeah. I think, Amit, you can be quite happy with what you've done, don't you think?
I love the studio. I think the studio's come out really well. I think the office is good. And we're getting some shit done, which is just, that's the best thing about it.
My only one request is that the parity between males and females is askew. And there's a question here saying, where can we get the question and answers? So you have to answer that as well. Catch the Q&A.
You'll see them on the Instagram channel soon.
On the Instagram channel soon. Back to the male-female parity. As a defender of female rights and gender equality, why don't we have 51% female and 49%
So
male?
we actually have a pretty healthy male-female ratio compared to most other people.
I had 5 men in the room. No woman.
But that's because now, dude, what do you want me to say?
Giggling men. Men like schoolgirls. Yeah.
The people who you had with you happen to be men, but I mean, like, we have a lot of women representation.
They always happen to be men. This is my biopic. They always happen to be men. It's going to be up in lights one day.
Who was with you all yesterday? Who recorded with you? Vishal, Abhay. I'm guessing Rishi was there. Antariksh was there. Vinay was there. So what do you want me to do, dude? It's your producer, your co-host, your sound engineer, the staff photographer that we hired, and the social media filmmaker.
Why are you punishing me with only men? I'm an old man. I like to, without sounding creepy.
Cyrus, don't worry. We'll all be in drag next time. We can all be in drag.
That's not going to help. I have Kunal at my house every day. What is that? Same here on the chat. Yeah, it is. Hey, listen. This is a serious criticism from Himisha, which is that we don't have enough women on our chat. Why don't we have enough women on the chat?
Yeah, wait.
That's good. Joe Rogan accepts his blemishes. That's because Cyrus attracts men. Okay, come into that room with those 5 other men. That'll be your punishment for that.
No, but you came when Hiral was on leave. Otherwise, Hiral is our social media main person, right? So I mean, like, if you were here on any other day and any other week, then she would probably have been there in the room with you as well.
Okay, point to note: I will only return when Hiral is back. This is going to be the one condition. Has to be fair.
She'll be back on
and
Monday.
We will definitely have more ladies on our show, on our podcast. Silverie, I'm just saying that. Now we have pressure. Imran Khan, Tom Brady, and women. All 3 impossible to get. So I'm just telling you, it's on you, bro. Kunal Vijayekar look beautiful when dressed as a woman. That is a statement which I cannot accept. Kunal Vijayekar doesn't look beautiful dressed as anything. Okay, it's just not possible. It's never going to happen. No amount of
so you like him undressed? Okay, got it, Cyrus.
Right. Tickle me. Add him to the room. Next time. Yeah. All right, shall we take more?
Yes. Bigfoot's Specials says that regarding the Joe Rogan thing, he says, isn't it wrong to have opinions without watching the whole show? Like, people are basing their opinions based on
No,
just
no, watching the episodes of the
Or
scientists, the two
not even watching the
scientists.
full episode.
I don't think it's wrong to have opinions without watching the whole show. I mean, like, it's impractical to expect that people are going to listen to 2.5 hours of that show before they form an opinion. It's a very, very popular
People
show.
who are writing articles and all about
No, I'm
it.
sure people who write the articles are
Okay, so let's
watching
be
it.
honest. Human beings think emotively for the most of it. You've already got a prejudice in your mind. You're for or against. Very few people actually listen carefully to balance content and decide to filter it correctly and say, okay, this is the situation. And also, I mean, it's very possible. But I'm just thinking that the way he presented himself, he would have won a few people over and would have doused a little bit of the fire, if not the full thing. I mean, he could have been hostile. He could have, stayed on the front foot about the whole thing and said, why don't we allow people to air their opinions just because the entire world has one way of thinking? It doesn't mean that the minority is wrong. But anyway, all I have to say is Rogan shows have dropped in quality after the Spotify deal. Oh, this is a good point.
Yeah, he
You
says.
think money has corrupted him? This is a communist theory of India that I want to revive.
I think it's much more likely that he just doesn't give a fuck anymore because he got so much money now. He
That's
just he
corrupting.
doesn't care.
That's corrupting. Money is corrupted. You give absolutely. That's who can phrase it better except that I don't use bad words. Doesn't give a damn. Yeah, fair enough. Or maybe we just got jealous of him. We're after him for no reason. Also, sometimes. No, I definitely feel Amit. His interaction, not just the Sanjay Gupta. They're more than that. There's a lot of times when his whole style of talking is now. People say that of Harsha Bhogle also, that he would go from being the friendly guy to being the more pedantic sort of guy. It's a natural process also to some extent. I think Harsha is
So-
not really that. He's been able to balance it, but there are people who think that because after years of seeing a guy, you go from being just a host to being the expert.
I feel like we've spoken about this before, but in case we haven't, have you heard of like Flanderization as a concept?
I'm going to say yes and then cough violently so I don't have to explain it.
Flanderization is basically Flanders from The Simpsons, the Christian neighbors.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
So they started off as like, relatively normal, like, the typical American family who were Christian. And as time went on, they got nuttier and nuttier on the Christian stuff, right? They became like more and more. This is something that you see in a bunch of different shows. You can think of, like, for example, on Friends, think of Joey in season 1, think of Joey in season 10. Right. What winds up happening is that the pieces, or think of Kramer in season 1 of Seinfeld versus 9.
The character traits that work, that become popular, like they really accentuate those character traits.
They really accentuate those over and over to the point where it then becomes a parody of
Correct.
what's happening, right? I think that in Joe Rogan's case, I think that's something of what's happened as well, right? That he's this iconoclast who doesn't give a shit about, like, how to like what he comes off as, how he sounds, etc. And so he's able to kind of so he's become a parody of himself in that sense.
So the bindas attitude can also be bad. We think of it as freedom because we come from a repressed society, but sometimes it can also lead to a sort of madness. That's a Monday morning word.
It's not a Monday morning word because it's a made up word. Not made up by me, but made up on the internet.
No, but it's accepted. Once it's accepted, and that's how the words happen to get born anyway. It's not like the dictionary writes them itself. So fine, we accept it. Next.
Yep. Robin Dadina says, I got affected with pre-diabetes yesterday at 33 years of age. Could you please share diet or lifestyle change tips which helped you, Cyrus?
Okay.
TIA. What is TIA?
I just mentioned that Rohan is helping us out with some behind the scenes stuff. Good to have you on the show.
Rohan, that's great. I hope there's no double meaning, an awkward conversation behind the scenes stuff.
He's a data scientist who lives in China, and he's helping us, like, do some work.
Well, then I have a question for him. Rohan, what is Chinese food in your area really like? I hear there's nothing like Indian Chinese. That's a better point to discuss. But anyway, here's what I think. Firstly, pre-diabetic is not that high. The numbers are, I can't remember the exact number. The cutoff is just outside the range kind of thing. So you're really in control already. If you want to just bring your sugars down so you feel better, because the maths on paper always makes you breathe better. It's like how you read, religion on paper and think it's correct. So just for the sake of that effect, that the visual effect that you get from looking at the numbers going down, I'm saying for 1 week, go cold turkey in terms of take out all the sugars and all the carbs for 1 week. Just take them out. Immediately you'll see the difference. But that means that 1 week you're rigid. Post that, never be rigid again. Oh, that sounds vulgar. You know what I mean. So post that, you can then balance it out and figure it out depending on whatever. But it's not that bad, bro. It's not that bad. If you're a non-vegetarian, it's actually much easier. I can tell you that. Dr. Cyrus Brocha, available for consultations and children's birthday parties. And yes, if your husband's out of town, wink, wink. Just kidding. Of course not.
All right.
There's nothing like Indian Chinese. Yeah, man. I feel that. I mean, you're the guy. Because on the length of bread, I've got
Actually, his
I
other
can't.
comment is funnier too.
Yeah.
Chinese food and
I don't
Chinese
know.
is
I'll have to
food.
go there to
But
see
I'm
because
done.
I was thinking all my life, I love Chinese food. Okay, I hope the
Mhm.
government's not listening. I love Chinese food, but Indian Chinese. And when I travel, I would always try, if I travel for an extensive thing, I would try and try Chinese food wherever it's always there. And it's always doctored to that area or whatever.
Mhm.
So the fact of the matter is, you're thinking, if I ever get to Beijing, I will now eat the mother of all Chinese food. But apparently, people who've gone there told me it's nothing. It's quite the
It's
opposite.
totally different. There are no noodles and rice. It's
Compared
like
to your Indian palate.
I like American Chinese food sucks, right? It's awful. But I would also
I
say
don't mind it.
no, I think it's awful.
I did like the taste. I
Okay.
did like
I think American Thai food is better than what we get in India. The Thai food that you get there, I feel like that's better than what we get here. But Chinese food is awful.
But what I liked about the American Chinese is they allowed you to have everything for a one person. We don't have that concept here, really. The one person concept. I can get the food just for me. I get the rice, I get the
Yeah.
meat, I get the soup, I get everything in one.
Spring roll, soup, rice, and
for a
meat.
certain
Four
amount.
things
Yeah.
in one. Yeah.
Here the
I agree with that. That's one of the most frustrating things to me, like that exists over here, right? I'm a single dude.
you need people for Chinese. You can never eat it alone. That's
It's
the
not
sad
just
part.
Chinese. Why don't we get more meal boxes for all kinds of cuisine? Why can't I get Indian food in like a good meal box? Why can't I get
It's the government. They want to
yeah.
teach Kunal Kamra and Munawar Faruqi a lesson, so they won't allow meal boxes. Because that's
Yeah.
one of the things that both of these guys are passionate about. I'm telling you,
what winds up happening, right? If I need to order food in the evening, you get to order one thing because you're one person. So you have
What
to
is the
order
one
like
thing?
a starter.
Oh, you mean like a roll? Yeah. God,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know,
And so
you can.
you spend the same amount of money sometimes, and it's just that one-dimensional. 5
Yeah,
bites,
it's the
it's over,
same
and
thing.
no experience of food.
Yeah,
I accept this. The roll is a big cheat. The roll,
yeah.
the sandwich, it's very often a big cheat because it's just the
Like
same thing.
even Parsi food, right? I'd love to be able to go and have like a little bit of cutlet, a little bit of dansak, a little bit of like
Oh,
maybe.
you like your Arnavas
I
and your
like my
Shernavs.
Parsi food.
So okay,
I like Parsi food, man.
you mentioned cutlet.
No, you get those cutlets. No, you get the little
Yeah,
cutlet
dadi
that they
wala.
put on the side.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. The dari cutlet, no?
Yeah,
How do you
exactly. The
explain
one
it?
that looks like that. Yeah,
Yeah, literally.
yeah,
That's why it's called
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Cutlet
yeah,
kings. All cutlets available.
yeah.
Silvery, not a cutlet man. Didn't excite you?
No, I love cutlets. Cutlets are great. I'm not into Chinese that much actually. I'm not into
Oh,
Chinese. I don't.
That's not good, dude.
I like Hakka noodles are fine. I like fried wontons. Most other things I'm not a big fan of.
All right, I don't know what to
wow.
say. I'm just
Yeah.
like
Ouch.
when you
I
say you
still
don't
have
like
it,
Chinese,
but I mean, it's not my first choice. Not my first choice. It's never
What
my
it means
first.
is the way most Indians or lots of us Indians love Indian Chinese, he's not one
I,
of
yeah,
those guys.
no, I'm
yeah.
not.
So
I
so
don't
when
like.
when the
Well,
family
but
thing
I'll
about let's order food, Chinese is never something I'll scream out. Like ours would be first Chinese as a collective.
My brother and the rest of my family really like Chinese food, so they still call for it
Oh,
often enough. I'll just
racist Silvery, cancel
Chinese
him.
food. I meant
I
Chinese
applaud.
food. Chinese,
Mm,
not Chinese people. Okay.
yeah, but Indonesians don't get along with, right? Because of that whole incident with the girl and all.
Actually, just lost my word. Shit. Such an
Uh,
unpopular opinion. That's hilarious. All right.
okay, we'll leave it there. I won't
Yeah.
poke the bear. Should we do one more?
Oh,
yes,
one
let's do
more.
one more.
This last one comes in from Harvespa Kasad. He's question for Amit. He says, "Why? What is your take on odds having Nets and Warriors as favorites to come out from their respective conference? Isn't it unfair on Suns?"
Okay, me and
KD.
Silvery will just urinate and come back. You
No,
take
no,
this one.
dude, my answer is very simple. You have Steph Curry, and you have Kevin Durant, and that's all you need. That's why they're favorites. That's literally all it is.
Does America, does the West bet when the trading is happening?
Oh yeah.
The
NBA
buying and
now,
selling?
like on the what do you call it, on the app or on the NBA website in the US and stuff like that, you can bet from there only directly now. It's
So
no longer
I've
even
heard it,
this.
on Saturday we have the IPL auction, and I heard the
Oh,
most money is made people betting on what the results are going to be. It's like huge, the betting.
that happens a lot on.
The Janta outside.
So NFL football is the bigger betting sport than the NBA is, because what happens is in football, the scores are smaller, and
And there are more players.
well, more players, but it's the smaller scores, right? So because of that, the chances of up and down are a lot higher. And in the US, what happens is there are two kinds of betting. There's odds bettings, which not that many people do, and then there is laying points. So basically, what that means is that if Team A is a 3.5 point favorite over Team B, that means they need to win by 4 or more to win the bet. The Team B needs to lose by three or win 3-2-1 or win, right? So because of that, football is a much more betting kind of forward sport.
In India, betting is popular, but bowling is not so popular. I've noticed that's
I never understood Indian cricket betting. I've never understood it. Like, the words that people use, right? Like cow in 80 paisa. I don't understand what that means. I have never been able to make sense of Indian.
We'll get a bookie on the show. Silverie, can we get a bookie on the show? We need to get a Chinese food expert and a bookie on the show. These are two areas that questions demand answers. We can't just leave it open.
Yeah. Have you guys ever heard of people betting on cricket and how they bet?
Yeah.
Same.
Like during the match, do you understand what they're doing? I don't understand what they're doing.
I have people I have known who bet actively on the phone all the time, and now with the internet, I mean, you can bet.
But if you're with them, right? If you're watching the match with them, do you understand the words that come out of their mouth?
But now audio betting has been replaced by the betting online, no? So
Okay.
They just bet.
They don't talk that much. Okay.
They don't talk. It's all private. But in the old days, you could literally hear people, and there was some people in groups would be famous for doing it, since it was so-called illegal and all that. But I can't remember the conversations. But
it was like
see a movie called 99. They use some of the jargon.
They
There's
do.
this wonderful film called 99.
I've heard about it. Oscar-winning movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's just say they refused to go to the Oscars. They were, fighting against Native American harassment and stereotyping, and so they refused to go there.
Based on a Michael Lewis book. Absolutely.
It is. Michael Lewis was actually also the cinematographer. Nobody knows the other side to him. Yes. Great piece of work, 99. Wow, I'm going to watch it right now. Illegally, of course.
It's on somewhere. Why would you watch it illegally?
God, I wish I had Indian Chinese. It's on Netflix or Amazon.
It's on one of them. I know that. Yeah.
You know how we are. Pepsi, Coke, all that marketing. All they wanted you to know is don't mistake one for the other. That's the only thing we never can do. All that money in marketing. Oh God, really? Yeah. How many times I was called Channel V? Hey, V channel, come here, V channel. Oh boy. Okay. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Chinese. Zindabad.
Please hit like, share, subscribe, and comment in the sections if you're enjoying the content that we put out. So let us know.
Yep.
No, don't say if you're enjoying and all, because that gives an option. Then not enjoying. I mean, even if you don't enjoy, dude.
Somebody else had a good suggestion about how to increase interactivity at the end of the episode. Hey, why don't you suggest who you'd like us to bring on next, right? I mean, like clearly Imran Khan is coming. Clearly Tom Brady is coming. Who else would you like us to bring on?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan again?
What if somebody says my pop? What am I going to do then?
Cyrus left. He just bounced. I think he was a click something by mistake. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely night. See you guys soon.
Bye, everybody. Good night.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In, or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
सफर, रास्ते, मंजिल और मुकाम अक्सर ये हमसे कुछ कहना चाहते हैं, पर हम हैं कि अपनी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में इन्हें सुनने से कतराते हैं। नमस्ते दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है केशव चतुर्वेदी और मैं आपको ले चलूंगा कुछ ऐसे सफर पर जहां आपको एक नया नजरिया मिलेगा सफर और मंजिलों को देखने का। आइए इन किस्से कहानियों में डूब जाएं, हर मंगलवार और शुक्रवार।
Are you looking for finance products and services that can enhance your personal finance experience? Are you looking for a space to talk about your financial product or service? And are you looking for a crisp talk show where the conversation is all about money? Well, your search ends here. Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta and I'm host of the Paisa Paisa podcast, and I invite you for the conversation about your personal finance on each Monday on the IVM podcast app or the website or on any podcast streaming platforms. See you folks.